everybody, it's Steve. Welcome to the Little Wood Shop. And today what we have for you, in conjunction with our Sunday evening blog, this week I believe we're discussing CNC project cost estimation. I'm not going to go into that because that's for the blog itself, alright? What I'm here today is to give you your free project that goes with the blog. We did the breakdown on cost and, like I said, that's for the blog. But the project that we're going to be doing is a CNC fabricated, beautiful little outdoor garden bench that you can sit down on and come nice weather. I mean, I got 4-foot snow bankings right now, so unless I'm in a snowmobile suit, I'm probably not going to be sitting outside on it, alright? Well, what I chose for my materials, and I really like Douglas fir a lot. You can see the colors. The heartwood in this is absolutely breathtaking. This is really going to be a beautiful bench when it's done, okay? What I'm going to do, and coincidentally, this is going to be the top of the bench, and no, it's not going to be this wide. But what I'm trying to do, I think the bench is going to be 16 to 18 inches wide on the top, with 2 legs and a nice cross section to give it rigidity, alright? I'm going to rip this down, but what I ultimately want to do on the bench is when I go to cut this out on the stinger, on the CNC machine, I want to have a nice white rim on the front and the back of the bench. We're going to line up some of our grains after we rip this down on the table saw. It's got to be glued and clamped tonight, but I really want to have this nice white rim on the outside. I think this is going to really add a lot of character to the piece. It's going to be beautiful when it's done, that I don't doubt. But more importantly, what we're going to do in this project, once we get our pieces glued and clamped, which is going to be the bench top and our 2 side legs, we're going to also teach you how to do a little bit of 2-sided milling on the machine. So, and I think for the guys out there who want to catch this project that don't have a CNC router, we're going to mark this up, and I'm going to also show you how you can do this with maybe just a skill saw or a table saw and a jigsaw. Some screws or fasteners of some type, but mainly this is going to be dedicated to my CNC group and how we cut this out of the machine. Like I said, some 2-sided milling. We're going to include still pictures. There's going to be a lot of editing in the video, so I think it's Tuesday right now. To have this ready by Sunday, I got to kind of bust my hump and get it done in time, alright? But everybody hang tight. I'm gonna get everything glued and clamped that I'm gonna need to make this work. And like I said, I chose Douglas fir for this project. However, if this is something you wanted to put into a production setting, go out, get yourself some number 2 pine. We'll go over the materials later on in the video, but for now I just kind of want to give you, you ladies and gentlemen, a shout out as to what it is your free project is. So stay tuned, we've got more of this beautiful outdoor garden bench coming up, and we'll be back, alright? Thank you everybody so very much. Alright everyone, we're back. We've cut everything down to the correct lengths that we need. My God, I need more caffeine. I basically did our 2 legs that are going to go on each side of the bench. I cut them down dimensionally so that I believe they're 20 by 20. This is my top. This is my 18 by 48. Okay? Now, I ended up manipulating the Douglas fir, as I told you in the beginning of the video, because I wanted to have this beautiful red center strip with the nice light white being on the sides after it's all cut out and said and done. I think it's going to add a lot of character to the piece. The legs are in fact going to be just a bright red amberish color on the outsides with just a very little bit of white on the interior of the legs, on the inside. The reason we're going to cut this all dimensional is because I told you in the beginning we're going to take and we're going to do 2-sided engraving. We're going to put the pockets, because everything's going to be pocketed on this so that the legs can pocket and fit up the underside of the table, and then the inside of the legs are going to be pocketed so that the 2x4 that goes in will have pockets to fit into. So everything's going to be almost like, we're going to almost do like a Tenyon type setup. We're going to also, on the very top, we're going to put some 1-inch holes in. I believe the program calls out for 3 of them, but we're only going to go in like a 1/2 inch. Or however deep we need just to hide the screw. And then we're going to put a beautiful hardwood dowel, or whatever dowel. I think I have a poplar one, a dark poplar kicking around. And those are going to plug the holes. Everything's going to be sanded smooth. And then we're going to hit it with, what was it, spar urethane, Minwax spar urethane. It's what I have local. And it's what I have available. Alright? Well, all I'm going to do is the legs are in the back room, they're drying, they're clamped up. We're going to get them squared up tomorrow on the table saw once they're dried. This is my lid. I've still got to glue it and clamp it with the Type-On. I love these Craig's jigs. The Craig clamps, I'm sorry. If anything's a little on the cattywampus side, it's maybe wrapped or bowed, not bowed, but if it's got a little twist in it, I can throw these on each end. Once I've got it glued and I've got it together, and then I can tighten up my clamps. They kind of help hold everything in place. I'm not going to make you sit through the gluing though. Now, tomorrow when Hey everyone, we're back. Everything's dried. The glue is set up really nice. This is together nice and strong. I took this morning. We've run it through the table saw. We've got our correct width, which is 18 inches, and we've got our ends squared. We double checked with our carpenter square. I already have done this, but everything's right on, corner to corner, the whole 9. So I told you going forward that we're going to try to keep the woodworking group as well as the CNC guys. We're going to try to make projects that can go, do double duty, so to speak. Well, for the woodworking group out there, I can tell you guys, I'm not much of one for sharp corners. I think I probably ran my skull into these too many times as a kid. And yeah, I like to put a radius on everything, but I utilize what I have in my shop. I told you, we're on a limited budget, and I'm just trying to do what I can with what I have. So, if I didn't have the machine, I'd put a radius on, it's a little round paint cup is all it is. Get it flush on my sides, I'd mark my radius. I do it on all 4 corners. And then I'd cut my radiuses with either a jigsaw or I'd use a bandsaw, whether a bench top or a big upright. But that's how I would do it. I would just make sure that I had my bench seat cut proportionally to the correct width and length that I was going to use. I think I called this out for 16 by 46, so that's what I would exactly cut it down to. I'd throw my radiuses on, I'd cut them out, like I said, with a jigsaw or a bandsaw. I'd sand everything down nice with either an orbital or a vibrating sander, and then that would be the end of it. I don't own a planer big enough to send this size material through. If you do, hey, I'm kind of envious of you, but I'm going to have to do this on the machine. So right now, we're going to get to that. Let me move the gantry up a little bit. We've got this beautiful new controller here from my good friend Joey Girard out at US Router Tools. I told you before, if I'm affiliated or associated with another business, I'd let you know. We're trying to run a very transparent, shop up here, and I'm just giving Joey a shout out because you know what? I've dealt with him. I've bought things from him over the last 3 years, just about 3 years now. He's always treated me well, and to me, this is how small businesses, help to market one another. Joey gives me a shout out here and there, and that's all I'm doing in return. Okay? Like I said, nice guy. USRouterTools.com. Go check out Joey. Wicked nice guy to deal with. All right. We're going to move the gantry forward. All right. I'm actually going to set this out of the way. Excuse me for 1 minute. Now, what I do at the start of every day is we reinitialize the machine every single day, zero it out at the starting point of the table itself. Once we're zeroed, I turn my laser crosshair on. Now, I've already done this. I've done this weeks ago, but turn your laser crosshair on, run your y-axis all the way up. I know for a fact mine stops at 50.249 inches. Well, what I do is from my start point, with my laser on, I come up to 25 inches. That is half the travel distance of my table. I've actually got a mark here, and I don't know if you can see it, but there's a big line that goes all the way across the table. That is the halfway of the table itself. So, for my CNC guys, we've taken our material. Half of 48 is obviously 24, half of 18 is 9. I line that center up with the line on my table. Now, I also told you I use a block like a fence. I use a strip of, this is just a composite piece of composite that I cut down to 1 by, whatever it is, 3/4 inches thick. I've made sure that it's square on the table, and I have another one up here that acts as basically like a stop block. I slide this into place. Now the reason I've gone through this is because we're going to be two-siding, we're going to do some two-sided milling. I unfortunately, like I just mentioned, I don't have a time saver. I don't have a big drum sander, nor do I have a big planer that can accommodate material this big. So we're going to do it on the machine. We're going to plane this all down nice and flat. I'm going to secure it to my table with screws. We're only going to go into the spoiler board that I put over the factory board. We don't want to damage up that nice factory board in the event we're going to upscale someday and get a bigger machine. Alright? Once I plane the top here, I'm going to flip it. I'm going to do the back, screwing it down again, locking it in place with the stop blocks. I've done this more than once, so I know that when I go to flip this material over to plane the back, and I get it locked in place again, screwed down nice, ultimately what's going to happen here is I'm going to do a bit change to a 1/4 inch end mill. We're going to put our pockets in, because I told you, we're going to kind of treat this like a mortise and tenon, if you would. We're going to put a pocketing tool pass slot in. That's where our legs are going to fit into. Now, we're not going to do the legs today. We're just going to do the top because, like I've mentioned, I'm going to do all this stuff on my lunch break. Or first thing early in the morning before I fire the shop up. So, I'm not going to make you sit through using the machine to plane the top and bottom of this. We're only going to probably take 20-30 thousandths off just to get it nice and level. And we're going to pause the video. I will be back, and just stay tuned, alright? Alright, we'll see you guys in a minute. Bye-bye. Hey everyone. Well, we've run our we've run the tool path required to plane the garden bench seat down using our 1.5 inch spoiler board bit. With everything locked in place, using the composite as like a fence on a table saw with a stop block at the end, and the material is dimensionally squared, I can throw this from one side to the other, and as long as it is square, I'm not going to have a problem with this thing dimensionally milling wrong, so that when I flip it back over to do the cutout, well, a pocketed slot for the actual bench leg isn't going to be off any, alright? Now, what we've done, and the other thing I'm going to mention real quick, is I told you when I initialized my machine, I turned my laser crosshair on and I put it exactly to the side. I always start up the center of my material. That's just the way I do it. Other people, do it differently, but I start off the center of my material. When I re-zero my laser X0, Y0, in my Win CNC control panel, you see two little green boxes on your X and on your Y. What I do is I click them both to red, because what they are the true measurements from the starting point of when the machine was first initialized before you re-zeroed it to the center of the material. I write those dimensions down. Like I said, it's pretty windy out today, and it's not impossible for me to lose power, so I don't want to have to try to... I've got the exact coordinates that I need. I have the exact measurements off the X and Y axis written down, so that if something goes wrong, I can reinitialize the machine. I can type in X 9.477 and Y 23.645, and I know that the center of my router will end up back in the center of my machine. Now, we've got a 1/4 inch end mill in. We're going to put the pockets in right now. I'm going to flip the material back over. I'm going to put a beveled edge on it. I like a bevel. That's just the way it is. And then I'm going to do one last bit change to the end mill that I used to cut this table out with. I don't believe an engraving is going to go into it, but you know, you never know. So I'm not going to make you sit through the pocketing tool path. Hey everyone, we're back again. I know. Well, I don't like to make anybody sit through the milling process, so we've got the top done, it's ready for cutout. We've got this awesome Milwaukee little reciprocating handheld battery operated saw. I use this for a lot of the cutouts, but real quick, just to highlight the material that we picked, and you'll see why I went the way I did with this material. This really, I'm happy with this, it came out nice, but we got the material, we cut it to length, we glued it, we clamped it. You know, the process prior to that was we got everything dimensionally correct, length and width. We ripped it down on the table saw so that we'd have a nice seam to glue and clamp. Well, from there, it came out of the clamps. We ended up taking and making sure everything was square, of course. We highlighted on how to do this with hand tools. To cut your top down to size on the table saw, glue it, clamp it, do radiuses with any round object you got kicking around for our woodworkers. For our CNC guys, we went through the brief overview of that. Well, I opted to not put a bevel on mine. I said to heck with it. However, I'm going to pull this up. I'm going to kind of talk as I cut. That way there, it saves us a little bit of time, I hope. I wanted to able to keep this as short as possible, guys, and I do apologize, but you know there's a lot to CNC and what we do, and anybody who does this, they know. You guys know. Okay, so all right, we're out. Let's get this out of the way. With that, I got some nice free BTUs for the shop stove, little kindling net. Waste not, want not. Let's set this out of the way. Here is the top of our bench. Now, this really, I really love the design, the way the center of the Douglas fir is the reddish amber, and we got the white rim on each side like we talked. Now, when we milled this down, we had to do basically 2 flips to it. I used the spoiler board bit to plane the surface on the top. We flipped it. We took the spoiler board bit, just like we were doing our spoiler board on our machine. Okay? We did the back. I did a bit change over to a 1/4 inch end mill. I don't know if you can see them or not, but our 2 pockets are in here. This is where our legs are going to fit into from the bottom. They're going to pop right in. And then on the inside of the legs, I'm going to do another pocket because this is really a beautiful piece of Douglas fir. It's a 2x4. That's what's going to go in the pockets of the legs. And then everything will get screwed together. Now, after we ran the pockets on the back, I flipped it back over, and I'm hoping you can see. I ended up putting in 3 little pockets here. This is where the screws are going to go down through. And these screws come out exactly in the center of where the pocket for the table legs go. We're going to then take, oh goodness, what do I do with my dowel? Here's my dowel. The dowel is going to go over the screw itself. We'll cut it so it's a little whisker high, and then we'll sand everything down. We'll either hit it with a belt sander or whatever, some 80 grit on the orbital, and we'll get everything nice and flush. So we're going to have these 3 dark dots from hardwood or whatever it is you choose to use. Now, this is 1.5 inch material. However, after you hit it with your spoiler board bit, let me just step out of the camera for 1 second, please. Take your verniers. Now, I took roughly 40 thousandths off. The one thing I do is to save the wear and tear on my spoiler board that I put on over the factory. This was screwed to the table. Now the other thing you can do is, because screws are going to go into these 3 pocketed holes that are going to screw into your legs, don't be afraid to put a couple short screws in just to help give this some rigidity on the table during cutout. I cut out with a 1/4 inch upcut end mill. I think I ran it around, I I'd have to go look it up, but I think it's somewhere around 80 or 90 IPM, dropping down at 150 or 180,000. So it was a nice fresh bit, so it made pretty good short work, but I let it take its time on the cutout because I was rather close to the size of the material. I didn't opt for a bevel because I think I'm going to take a handheld router. I'm going to put some type of different edge around. Now, down the road, if I still choose, I can still put an engraving in the center of this if I want. I don't think I'm going to, but I don't know. Who knows yet? But basically, check the depth, check the thickness. You know, it went from 1.5 inches down to 1.450, 1.420, 130. Okay. Readjust your V-Carve Pro material thickness. That's what I do, and then I go an extra 10 thousandths on whatever I set it at, because I don't want to mar the living bejeepers out of the board. I actually just milled this last weekend. So that's kind of the overview for the tabletop. I think we're gonna. I don't think we're gonna do this whole project in 3 videos. Next up will be our legs. We're going to show you how to do them not only in the machine, but I'm going to try to mark one up. Tomorrow's Saturday. We're going to mark one up, and we're going to do it that way. I'm trying to keep it across the board for not just the CNC guys, but also the woodworkers. I want everybody to enjoy these projects, and like I said, if you want to just spin these really quick out of pine, by all means, but I really wanted this red highlighted Douglas fir in the middle with my white trim. I really like this, and chances are, yes, my wife is going to steal it from me. So, but anyways, I'm going to let you guys go and keep an eye out for part 2. And I think we'll also run the V-Carve Pro through my new Camtasia video editing software. We'll do a screen capture, and I promise I'm going to try to make these videos a little shorter. I know, but CNC is a big topic matter, and I try to give you guys as much as I can. Well, as always, thank you so very much for your support, my followers, my subscribers. We've had a good amount of you coming on board here in the last month, and I really hope you like this project. You know, make a few of them. We'll include links to the download library, the whole 9. Those of you who've been with me for a while, you know, I don't charge you guys anything for this. I give this away. I want you to take the programs. I want you to manipulate them. If you can make money off of it, good for you. I'm happy for you. And as always, if you can, if there's a little man or a young lady in your house who shows any interest in working with their hands in this awesome career field, whether it's CNC or just woodworking, bring a little one in, instill the values of what it is to work with your hands. Okay? You guys take care. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.